Hello from the city of London. Welcome to the Simz Serotonin Podcast, where we are inspiring you to action your three Gs to grow, glow, and go after pursuing your passions, spreading serotonin along the way. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me. We have Taylor Falls. Taylor, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I would. I love the three G's. Like everyone needs to live by that every single day. Brief introduction to myself. So, hi everyone. I am Taylor Falls. I am currently a program specialist at Adobe. And in my free time, I love to make LinkedIn content where I try to inspire the next generation of diverse talent to thrive in the workplace by providing resources and tips and tricks. So that's a little bit about me.
Yes, Taylor is the big sister everyone needs.
Hmm.
Your advice, Taylor. This is how actually I came across you, Taylor, your LinkedIn posts. Seeing them has been a great form of inspiration to me.
Oh,
And
thank you.
so I'm so excited to have you here today and for everyone to hear from you because you have an important voice to share.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to share.
Cool. So before we, I guess to kick off, Taylor, I'd love if you could tell us a bit more about you beyond, I guess, role and basic descriptions. Like when someone asks you to introduce yourself, what's an atypical answer? What would you not share? Tell us about you in that way.
Well, fun fact about me is that I'm actually an open book. So, whenever I do my first introduction to people, I try not to get too deep. But the thing is, I never have a problem with telling people everything about me. So, when it comes to what I would share, I would tell people that when it comes to how I live my life, oftentimes people assume that because I am so active on LinkedIn and other forms of social media, and because I have my own podcast and do all these things where I'm consistently talking to other people and in like the public facing eye, that I am like this super extroverted person who is like uberly confident. And to be honest, that's just not true. Whenever I tell people that, they're always like, shocker. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
am
I was
like,
shocked.
yeah, I'm like, people are always shocked, which the real thing about me is that yes, this is who I am, but it's taken me a while to get to this place. Like inherently, I am an anxious introvert. I People don't tend to think that I'm anxious, but for example, like yesterday I went to a networking event by myself, and I do this often. I put myself in situations where I force myself out of my comfort zone. And I walked in and there were like 100 people, over 100 people there. And I just went up and talked to people despite that not being something that's like inherent to me. I've made it a part of my life. So now it's just become a thing where I put myself in these uncomfortable situations because I understand that I have to put myself in these places in order to grow and to get where I need to go. So that's something about me that people don't often think. Like at the end of the day, I'm highly anxious like all the time.
Thanks for sharing that. How was your networking event yesterday?
It was great. Like my goal is to always meet a couple of people in like a genuine fashion because I
Okay.
don't like going to events where there are people and everyone is just trying to talk to everyone just to talk. Like there is no, it's like more transactional. And
Yeah.
I don't believe in transactional relationships. So I found a couple of people who I had like really good conversations with, like really good, deep and long conversations. And that's always my goal. So I would say because of that, it went well.
I'm glad to hear that you found it good. What do you think about the concept of networking events and the well, some people see it as a buzzword, networking, right? What
Yeah.
does networking mean to you?
To me, networking means being genuine and authentic. Oftentimes, people are networking, and again, it's this thing where I am trying to get something from someone. I don't think that's what networking should be. I don't think that's what networking was intended to be. I think networking is a thing where you establish a baseline relationship with someone. And then after that, you do the work in order to follow up and facilitate a connection that hopefully can grow with you. I don't like networking in the traditional sense of like, we're in this room and I need to talk to, as I mentioned, I need to talk to everyone because I need to get something from them. I think that's kind of weird. It's kind of cringe. And I am so much more for networking where you are genuinely trying to get to know someone. And then after you get to know that person, maybe down the line, if you need something, now you've established a relationship where you can ask for that without it, again, being this weird, like, transactional thing. So I really wish that networking was more about like making friends or even like professional people who you can genuinely talk to versus meeting people just because you need or want something.
Yeah, I see your point, and I agree on the friendship side of it. Like, obviously, you're not going to be friends with everyone, but
Right.
it makes it feel less forced when you come at it with a genuine approach. And even the word networking, like, I've said this to many people before, but I don't like that it's so much of a buzzword. Like, in reality, it could just be chatting to people and
Yeah, we're just
trying
having a
to make like
conversation.
professional friends, right? Yeah.
Right.
But I'd love to hear who's been the most memorable person you've met at a networking event, or what's been the most memorable interaction you've had.
Most memorable interaction. I think about this all the time. I actually met the CEO of Scali. I don't know if you're familiar with Scali, but
No.
um, I don't know if they're. I think they are global, but in the U.S., it's like it was a like multi-million dollar company where basically he was actually from my hometown, which I did not know, but
Oh.
he established a website where students could go, and it was like this large scholarship database where you not only could find the scholarship, but you could apply for the scholarship like via the database. He actually recently sold it to in the U.S. like Sally Mae, which is like the big company that does like scholarships and loans and stuff for school. He sold it to them for I don't know how many millions of dollars. But long story short, I was sitting next to him, and I didn't even know who he was, to be honest. I had no clue. I just started talking to him. I was just yapping my mouth off, and then someone was like, that's Christopher from Scali, and I was like. I said, Scott, I said, wait a minute. I said, I used that. I was like, you're the CEO? Then we had a whole like another
Did you
conversation.
straight up say that to him? Like,
Yeah, I
this
did.
CEO?
Girl, I don't care. Like, I was like, wait, that's you? And we had a whole conversation about Alabama and like where we're from. And I actually saw him again at a similar or the same event like the following year, and he actually
Okay.
remembered me. So that was lovely to see. So yeah, I would say that's definitely been my most interesting networking event or networking experience because I
Hmm.
had no clue and I was just yapping to this random man. So you never know who you're talking to be honest, for real.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you could have, you could be at. Well, actually, what kind of networking event was this? Was this the type that you'd randomly find on Eventbrite, or was it like a conference where many established companies attend?
It was a conference. So it was a conference networking event.
Okay.
It was one of the more, I probably should have known this. It was like the more exclusive networking event that was a part of the conference. I was not personally invited. I just had like one of the tickets that like grants you access to the more top tier things, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And I did that purposely to meet people, who were in high places. But my brain didn't, I didn't think that I was gonna meet all these CEOs and stuff. So it was intentional, but not intentional at the same time.
Mm. Okay. Interesting. And so along the lines of networking, moving back to this whole idea of professional development, meeting people, what's something you would say your younger self or your inner child would especially appreciate about how you go about your professional career today?
I think my inner child would appreciate how I always show up unapologetically as myself. Often when I was younger, I used to try to like fit in where I thought I needed to be. And I would often, beat myself up if I wasn't in like the group of the people who everyone at the time thought was cool. And I would try to, assimilate to match that, but that wasn't who I was, and that honestly is
Yeah.
never who I want to be. And so, as I got into college and I realized I really took the time in college to realize like a lot of people are putting on a mask and being someone who they are not. And they have to live with that every day. And I realized that is not how I wanted to live my life. Like I really sat and
Mm.
reflected on the fact that I want to show up as myself every day, no matter if that's at work or in my personal life. And so I made the active and conscious decision that, no matter where I go, that I need to feel comfortable enough to be myself. And so that's why, when I speak to students or other people about work and what that looks like, I tell them, like, make sure that when you are seeking a role or a job or whatever opportunity, whatever it may be, that it is a fit for you. Because there are some people who unfortunately are not fortunate enough to say that they can be themselves at work solely because that may not be allowed. And I'm just so grateful that I've always been able to find myself in places where I can be myself at all times. And I think, my younger self would be really proud of me for consistently showing up as me instead of trying to show up as someone else.
Yeah, authenticity and being your authentic self is so important. And to your point, like, I feel like it makes life easier if you're being
Yes.
yourself, and you tend to enjoy things more. And it's like, wait, like, why am I pretending to be something I'm not? You know.
Exactly.
But what would you say you do at times where you feel like there's a situation that somehow makes you feel like, oh, I need to mask a bit of myself, or maybe these people aren't going to resonate with these qualities of mine. How do you react in that type of situation? Because I have that sometimes, and I'm like,
Mm.
okay, wait, um, I don't want to people please, but I also don't want to. I don't want to say ruin, but like
Yeah.
cause a clash with like
Right.
the interaction.
As I've grown, I've recognized that there may be times where I find myself in spaces where I don't agree or resonate with what is occurring, and it's not something that I would personally do. And it is a hard thing to like kind of sit with that and, ask yourself what is happening and how you should action. So I always tell myself to think of it in a way is in like, is this like a one thing that you have to do that you don't resonate with? Or is this a series of things or like a group of people that you consistently have to be around that you don't resonate with? Because there will always be a couple of things where you may not agree with something or you may have a different take or point of view, and it doesn't necessarily always align with, again, what you would want. I understand that in business that's sometimes going to be the case. I've had to learn to accept that.
Yeah.
However, if it is a time where these things are happening like consistently, and again, these are people who you have to be around, like your teammates or something like that, I think you have to start to question, is this the space for you? And I know that can often be a hard question for people to ask themselves, but if you find yourself in situations where you are consistently having to do things that are not aligned with who you are, then again, it may be time for you to consider, is this the place that you should be? But if it's like a one off or a two off instance, I think you should take note of that, and that you should be clear on your stance, and have those conversations, even if they are difficult, just so people know, like, your perspective and you're sharing that.
Mhm.
And, you may have to agree to disagree. But again, if it is happening consistently, I think that begs a greater action potentially.
So it sounds like a lot of evaluation is needed here, like
Yes, a lot of
reassessing.
evaluation, reflection, and I would also say taking note of things.
Yeah.
I tell people document, document, document. Make sure that you are also documenting what's occurring as well.
Mm. And in terms of evaluation and thinking about whether things align with you, would you say that you have a set of values that you always check everything that you're doing by, and whether, okay, is with this activity that I'm doing, does it comply with these values of mine? And to what extent do you feel like it's okay
Waiver,
to what's the word?
waiver,
Re
or like move away
waver them,
from.
yeah.
Yeah. So yes and no. So I do have a set of values. Now, do I have these things written on paper? No. Did my
Taylor's
therapist tell me
values.
to do this a couple weeks ago? Yes. Did I do it? I forgot. But this just reminded me. And so I need to go do that after this. But I do have like a set of moral and ethical things that I live by. Like, for example, I don't want to do something that is going to harm someone else.
Mm,
I'm always going to advocate for people of underrepresented groups. I'm
yeah.
always going to try to do things that are as authentic to me as possible. Like these types of things are things that I do live by and have a code of. And when it comes to, these things and making sure that what I'm doing is aligned to them, I do think that, again, there will be instances where things may not be exactly aligned to your values. But again, I think we have to ask ourselves, like, are these things morally and ethically correct or incorrect? And if there is a time where there is something you don't agree with, but it's still like morally and ethically correct, okay, we can talk about it. We can have these conversations. If there's a time where things are starting to be questionable in the regard of, is this right? Like, is this truly right at the basic level of being moral and ethical? If there is a question there, then I feel like that needs to be called out. And I feel like I'm not answering part of your question. Can you re-ask the latter part? I'm missing something in my answer, I feel like.
Let me remember the question because I got distracted by your answer. It was a good, you were going on a good track. I said, if you have like a set of values, which you did
Mhm.
answer, and oh, the breaching bit, like to what
Do
extent
you?
do you feel like it's okay to breach?
Right. I would say it's not, again, I really feel like it's really rooted in, is this thing going to affect a proportionate amount of people negatively? Is this thing going to be something that I would not be proud in saying that I was a part of? You have
Mm,
to ask yourself these questions. And if some of the answers to these questions are yes, then I think that calls into the fact that maybe we should not be doing what we're doing. And I think that may be again, greater or a broader conversation that needs to be had with the decision makers that are in charge of these said things.
yeah.
But I really think the line is crossed again when it's becoming something that is going to affect people in a negative manner, or again, if we're starting to question our own morals and ethics, then that's when I would say that we've gone too far.
Fair points. And I guess having to make these decisions is a form of leaving your comfort zone because it's uncomfortable, right?
Highly uncomfortable.
And um, earlier you were talking about how attending networking events is leaving your comfort zone. How would you say that you know you're doing something that involves leaving your comfort zone? Like let's say people who are thinking about taking it to the next level in their career or even personally in your life, like making a big choice. How do you know if this is a good way of leaving your comfort zone when you make a decision?
That's a great question. I think, again, it goes back to your values. So, again, since my values are rooted in helping other people and also, making sure that my personal brand is one that speaks for itself without me even being in spaces, I have to meet people like that. I can't just not talk to people if I
Yeah.
want to grow my own personal brand. So I know that despite me being an introvert and me being uncomfortable, often talking to new people, that's something I have to do if I want to grow as a professional.
Mm,
On the other hand, I would say, if you feel like you're doing something or like you're in a place where you're out of your comfort zone and it's not going to contribute to your growth or to your values or to your vision or your mission or whatever big thing that's keeping you doing what you're doing, then I think, you need to ask yourself, is it necessary for me to do this? Why am I doing this? I think the question should always be, why are you doing said thing? Again, if it is not aligned to the things that you are striving for in your life, whether personally or professionally, then I would say I don't know if it's worth you being uncomfortable doing something that isn't going to benefit where you're trying to go.
mm, yeah.
Unless it's helping
Value.
someone else. But even then, I would say even in that realm, sometimes people helping someone else can put you in a weird spot. So I would also
Mm,
say be cognizant of that too.
yeah. It all comes down to what you believe in and what you
Right.
stand for, doesn't it? I'm
Yes.
I'm still shocked about the fact that you say you're more of an introvert. Like genuinely,
Highly.
what would you say? So, do you think that spending more time alone energizes you, or what fuels you? What brings you energy?
Me being here with my dog. That's why I'm like, yes. I do know that I'm an introvert because being around certain people energizes me, but even then, like, after a point, I'm like, okay, love y'all, I gotta go. See you later. I know I'm an introvert because when I am alone, like in my own space, that's when I'm truly like, yes, I love this. Now again, I love my friends, I love my family, I love, meeting new people.
Mhm.
Um, and they energize me to an extent, but I get much more energy when I'm by myself.
Mm. What's your favorite thing to do to energize yourself, Taylor?
That is a great question. Probably, to be honest, like going somewhere for dinner like alone is a good thing.
Solo date.
Yes, a solo date. I also love the thing that really energizes me is the spa. Oh my gosh, we have a spa here.
Ooh.
Like that's like 20, 30 minutes from my house. And I try to go every quarter because it is like it's kind of pricey, but
Your
every quarter,
quarterly reward.
yeah,
Your
it's not too shabby. I go every quarter and like literally what my friend and I do is like we go in, we get in the water, we'll go take like a nap. Like we have a thing that we do, we
Ah.
read. Like it's literally like a whole 12-hour day where we just stay in the
Oh
spa.
wow, a full day.
Yeah, we'd like the spa doesn't close until 9, so we try to get there around like, 10,
Maximize it.
like yeah, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and we stay the entire day.
Damn, I
Yeah.
need to hop on this trend.
You
A quarterly
definitely
spa reward.
go to the spa. And also the other thing that energizes me is literally like just doing things that I like, whether that's taking a nap or I have this new app on my iPad where it's like a free drawing app where like they give you the app is not free, but like you can free draw versus it being like some like the coloring things like you tap the image and it colors itself. Like no, I
Yeah.
feel like an actual artist where I'm like I can color outside of the lines. I can do all of this weird stuff. I
That's
recently
cool.
got that on my iPad. That energizes me. I do that.
But that requires so much patience. I respect you for that because I
I
could
love
not
it.
these apps like
Oh my God, I love it so much. Like I'm all like I just got a new like pencil, like an iPad pencil, and I'm always like just coloring away. That energizes me.
makes
I
me
think
feel
I said taking
fancy.
naps, like going on long walks with my
Yeah.
dog, just
But
like
do you like,
really things.
sorry to cut you off, do you
Oh.
like short naps or long naps?
This is a good question. I am more so of a short nap person because if my nap is too long, at that point I just won't go to sleep at night.
Mm.
And I'm already a night owl as is. Like I already naturally stay up to like 2 a.m., which I'm trying to stop. So I would say my naps are normally somewhere between 15 minutes to like an hour. I normally don't go any longer than that.
Oh my God, I agree with you. I'm a huge power nap fan. Like
Hmm.
short, nice, sweet power nap, get your energy up, and then go on with your
Go
day.
on with your
I
day.
don't get like when people have 2 hour naps, like
Uh-uh.
that's too long for me.
I only do that if I'm like truly exhausted. Like I will say, like last week after work, I was exhausted, just from like traveling and like doing all the stuff I had done that week. And I think I
Yeah.
took like a 3 hour nap. Like I tried to get up at the one or 1.5 hour mark, and yeah, now I had to go back to sleep. Now, if you're like really exhausted, I would say a long nap will do it for you. But
Mm,
normally, it's short naps for me.
yeah. And what's your dog's name? What breed is your dog?
Shadow is my dog's name. I want to look
Oh,
around
what
because I feel like
inspired the name?
so, fun fact, I didn't name her. Actually, the person who gave her to me named her. But when I tell people why she's named Shadow, I say because she follows me around like she is my shadow. And I'm surprised. I'm like looking
She isn't
around.
here.
I'm like, I don't know where she is. I don't see her yet. But she is a toy poodle chihuahua. And I'm trying to make sure
Oh,
she's not gonna
cute.
come. She loves to be beside me. So I'm surprised that she has not come and tried to. She does this thing where she'll like stand up on her hind legs and like wave her hands to get your
Oh.
attention. So I'm surprised she hasn't come running yet. I think she's taking her own long nap probably somewhere around here.
So shadow's one of your forms of serotonin, would you say?
She
Your
definitely is.
princess
I
serotonin.
literally take her everywhere. Like if I could take her literally everywhere, I would.
Oh.
She is my best friend. I talk to her all the time. We're always having our snuggles. I love that. I love that little dog.
And she sees you behind the scenes, working from home, writing your LinkedIn posts,
She sees
recording
everything.
your podcast.
She's helped
Well,
me
maybe not
write
in
a few of
studio.
them. She loves the computer. She'll tap on the keyboard. She'll
Does
like
she?
the iPad. Like she'll get like hit the iPad. Like all of the things.
You should mention that in a post one time.
Be like, yeah, Shadow wrote this.
Shadow was typed this, or excuse me, like the for the typo.
Literally co-editor, co-author.
Speaking of your LinkedIn posts, how do you keep at it? Like, what do you have like a schedule, or how do you go about your LinkedIn posts?
So now that I have so much going on in my life, I
Yeah.
feel like I've always had so
Your
much going on.
MBA,
Yeah, but
podcast,
now that it's
everything.
like all these other things, I've had to like start being really consistent and really cognizant of the fact that I need to schedule the posts and write
Mm,
them in bulk or they're not going to get posted. So I've started, normally what I'll do is on Saturday or Sunday, I will like come up with the content that I'm going to put out for the week. And then I'll
okay.
try to write them all in that one go. And then I will schedule them for that upcoming week. So that's what I've been doing recently, just because like what I used to do honestly is if I had like a stroke of inspiration or something, I would write the post live right then. Yeah. And I unfortunately just don't have time for that now. So
Time.
what I will do is I'll have like these sparks and I'll write down like post ideas and then I'll wait till
Mm,
the weekend to kind of draft them and then schedule them via LinkedIn.
that makes sense,
Hmm.
yeah. Ahead of time. And
Yeah.
it's that way you get to leverage the spark. You just save it for later and
Yes.
just
And it's been
schedule.
so much more helpful because I mean, a couple weeks ago, I've tried to do this like a couple of times on and off, but now I like kind of have no choice
Mm,
because a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to like do as I've been doing in the past and like write them on the spot. And I think I only posted like one or two times that week because I just didn't have time to like really think,
mm,
edit. And so I was like, no, we can't keep doing this. So yeah, 1 or 2 days on the weekend, and then I just scheduled them out.
yeah. And where did your LinkedIn journey start? What was your very first thought? Like, hey, let me post on this app.
So it actually started back in college. I was the head of professional development for my sorority at the
Um,
time, and I was
oh my
doing
God, you
all
were
of
in a sorority? That's so cool.
yes, part of Alpha
Sorry, go
Kappa
on.
Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So shout out to all of my sisters out there if they're listening. I started as our head of professional development, and I was doing literally what I do now. Like I was hosting events where people were like learning about different things about their resume, about cover letters, about how to
Mm,
dress for an interview, like all of these various things. I was even like scouring the internet and finding internships for all of my sorority sisters and like sending them a personalized list of internships that were aligned to their major at the time. And thinking back, I'm like, I was literally doing LinkedIn just in person. So when I graduated, I was like, how can I continue to do this? Because I was so passionate about it. Like, oh my gosh, I loved it so much. I was like, how can I continue to do this now that I've graduated from college and I don't really have like these people to do this stuff for in person anymore? And I was talking to a colleague one day, and he was like, why don't you just post on LinkedIn? And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. So I started, my first post was, I think, what was my first post about? Tips for internships, like how to get an internship or something related to internships. I started that. I made an infographic actually on Adobe Express and I posted it. And that was like my first post. And I remember it wasn't my first LinkedIn post, but it was like my first tip
yeah,
with Taylor post. And I remember it got like 250 likes. And I was like, okay, for a first like tips post, this is
not bad
doing
at
pretty
all.
good. Right.
Yeah.
And so people were like commenting. They were like, oh my God, we love this. This is great. And I was like, wow, y'all actually like it? Love that. And so after that, I just started posting a couple times a week, I would say. And then now I've
Mm,
worked up to posting almost every day at this point.
amazing. Respect the grind.
Thank you. It's been a journey. I mean, I've taken a couple of sabbaticals because I think people don't recognize like
Yeah.
thinking and making content is hard.
Hmm.
And I used to be like, oh, it's not that hard. Like, no, like to consistently put out stuff that is actually valuable
Mm,
is difficult. So shout out to
yeah.
you and then also all the people who are creating any kind of content out there because I used to be like, oh, that's the easy thing. It's not.
Hmm. Yeah. And no, I totally understand where you're coming from because I'm loving like I love LinkedIn. Like all my friends know this about me. I just love it. I think it's such a cool platform where you can learn so much and really get so much inspiration. And it's fun to also share what you learn on it. But it does take time to like yeah, you can have a thought or a piece of inspiration, but like you said, you need that time, like on the weekend, where you sit and put it together, piece the puzzle pieces together. And so I appreciate the fact that you post basically every day is impressive.
It's just a lot,
Um,
but yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
And thank you too for shouting out all the creators, and
Yes.
because it's well deserved. But it doesn't come easy. Like I was very inspired by Mayomikan, who we both know, because she's a fellow intern with me at Adobe, and she started to post more, because it involves like some level of, to really resonate with people, you need to be a bit vulnerable
Mm.
and authentic, and so it does take like leaving your comfort zone, doesn't it, to post and to talk about yourself to like a really big audience of people. So what I guess would you say is your experience with that? Did you always find it pretty easy to talk about yourself and to share, to be an open book the open book that you say you are, or did it take like building up?
I love this question because I remember we had a whole conversation about this, I think a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like towards the middle part of my life, like going into my teen years, I started just being an open book because I'm like, what is the point in me like not doing that? I don't know. I just felt
Mhm.
like whatever people need to know, I'll tell them. I will say, being on social media and like having now like thousands of people consistently looking at my stuff, I think there were times, and there probably will continue to be times where I'm like, I don't know if I like this today. Like this
Yeah.
feels funny. Um, but I don't know. Like I never really had an issue with being vulnerable, and because my vulnerability, I'm like can't even say the word, has been
It is a long
so
word.
like the has been so paramount in my success thus far. I don't really think I ever have had a time or like a long period of time where I've had an issue with being vulnerable because I realize that that's what people actually want and that's what people need.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so to anyone out there who is, thinking about posting, but it's like, oh, like I'm, I hear this thing about I'm afraid to be perceived and I don't know how people are going to take it. I would always say like, you're constantly being perceived by people. Like, whether you know it or not, there's always going to be someone actively perceiving what you're doing, even if you don't know it. And it's all in, taking that idea of the perception of yourself and making that into something that ultimately could potentially benefit you and other people. And so when it comes to me being vulnerable, like, I don't know, I feel like it's just always been something I inherently do. My parents are always like, you tell everyone everything about you. And I'm like, okay. And I don't know. I just feel like it's something that has always worked in my favor. And so in
Mm.
doing it on LinkedIn, it wasn't really too big of a thing for me because it's just something that I've kind of always done. And I encourage people to do that if they are comfortable, that is.
Hmm. Yeah. That's interesting. Because for me, it definitely was like, okay, I need to get comfortable with talking about myself. And like, but I think at the end of the day, when you're confident enough in yourself, then you can use that as like an anchor, right? To like be like, it's okay. It doesn't really matter what people think because I know who I am and what I stand for, and
Mm.
you can just be your best self.
I
That's all
would
you can
say,
do.
though, believe it or not, I do not have the best self confidence either. People think that I'm like this super like confident person. And I wouldn't say that I'm not confident, but like I'm not the most self-confident person. So for me, the vulnerability is more so in lying in me being vulnerable is going to help someone else. Not, me being vulnerable because I'm super comfortable in myself. Because to be honest, there are many days where I'm not. It's me so
Mm.
being vulnerable because I know there's someone out there that could benefit from this or that is going through the same thing that needs to hear someone share the story.
Mm.
Hmm. Which
That is
is
a good point.
which is
Yeah. I
odd
mean,
and weird, but
but at the end of the day, confidence is always going to be ups and downs. Like, I don't think, well, there are people who are just extremely confident, but
yeah, all the time. Which shout out to them.
people like people. I was watching Jay Shetty's podcast the
Mm,
other day, and he was saying, or he had a guest saying, confidence isn't something you're born with; it's something you build.
over
And
time.
when you have like evidence of you leaving your comfort zone, doing things that scare you, that's you telling yourself that you are confident as a result of those things.
Right.
So I don't know, like what really does it mean to be confident? Like define
I
confidence.
would look. I wish I knew. I would say I'm self-aware. Am I always confident? No.
But you come off as very confident.
It's a facade. That's what people don't recognize, that I have done so many things in my life where I appear to be. People always think that I'm like super confident and like super cool and like collected. And no, I panic inside. I'm not. I am always like questioning myself and my abilities. It just so happens that things have gone correctly, so I try to use that data to kind of like build my confidence, to be like, no girl, like you actually have done the work.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job. So I try to use like the data points of my success to build my own confidence.
Yes. Hype yourself up, Taylor. You
I have to have
deserve it.
positive
You're a
self-talk.
queen. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know these post-its on my wall? They're all like positive self-talk. And even
I
on my
need that.
mirror
I
in the
see. I
morning.
used to have this. And when I was in high school, I used to have, oh my God, so many quotes. Like I used to just write. I wouldn't even put it on a post-it note. I would have just a marker on on the mirror.
Well,
Yes, I would like
on
literally
the
get
wall.
a washable marker and I would write on my mirror like directly,
Oh my
or like
God.
an expo marker so I could erase it. So I know what you mean. And I need, my therapist keeps, if my, I'm going to send this episode to my therapist when it comes out. She
You
always,
were
always is
mentioned.
telling me, yeah, affirmations, positive self-talk. She's like, write it
Yeah.
down, put it on your computer, put it on your desk, put it on your mirror. And I'm like, girl, I got to find some post-it notes. And I just never find,
Yeah.
I never find the post-it notes. So I'm going to get an expo marker.
This is your sign. Get
It
those
is.
post-it notes. But I don't, that being said, I don't think affirmations suffice. Action needs to be complementary to the
Right.
affirmations because affirmations are a good like nudge and push, and it's like I know even at work sometimes like if I'm not confident about something, it's like me repeating those affirmations in my head. Sometimes that will give me the push, but it doesn't always give me the push.
Right.
I need to give myself the push and like do the action. So I get what you mean about confidence and like I don't think that I think everyone has doubts. Everyone isn't entirely confident in everything and because we're all imperfect. Like there's always something we can learn more about or do better in, but it's about like still giving yourself that kudos. I love how I'm saying this because I'm so harsh on myself, but yeah, it's a
Well, look, we're
good
going through
thing.
the same journey, and I know we're both going to be okay and confident in ourselves and our abilities.
Exactly. Well, thanks for all your advice, Taylor. Very much appreciated and loved hearing about how you energize yourself too. Before we wrap up though, I'd love for you to share with the audience, um, how do you think everyone should go and spread serotonin today? Give everyone an action.
Yes, today I would say lift as you climb. So spread serotonin by helping your neighbor. I don't know. I feel like I get the best feeling when I've been able to say like I helped someone. Like that really gives me a boost of serotonin that's unlike anything else. So I would say help your neighbor, lift as you climb in whatever way that looks like for you. Whether that's, sending somebody a happy notes today, like saying you're proud of them, whether that's opening the door for someone, whether that's like sending tips or resources that you found, like truly, I would say help your neighbor. That's how I would say it's to spread the serotonin today.
There you go, everyone. Help your neighbor, spread serotonin the Taylor way.
Yes.
Do you have any exciting plans for the weekend?
I'm going to be studying for my GRE. I'm like, not
Well, we
exciting.
can make it exciting. Romanticize
Well,
it.
what's going to happen is this is how I'm making it exciting. The pool recently opened on my rooftop. So, what I'm going to do is after I hit like my 2 hours or like 2.5 hours of studying, I'm going to take my book that I need to finish by the middle of this month. And I'm going to go and I'm going to sit by the pool and read my book and maybe, have a little mocktail or something.
Yeah.
That's how I plan to spend my weekend. How about you?
Oh, I love that. But just quick question, what book are you reading?
The Children of Blood and Bone, one of my favorite books. I
Oh, you've read it
recommend.
before.
Yes, I read it. It came out in like 2018, 2019. And I read it when it first came out, and it's a trilogy, by the way. I started with the first book, and I read it, and I loved it. And then I went to the second book, and something happened. I won't spoil it, but something happened in the first book that when I got to the second book, I was like, can't read it. I'm too upset. And so I just stopped reading the trilogy altogether. But the final
Yeah.
book or one of the I think it is a trilogy. I hope I'm not. Maybe it's a series. I don't. Anyway, don't quote me on that. But one of the third book just came out, so now I'm like I have to start with the first book. I'm gonna work my way because it's been years, and I'm like I love that book, but I was just so upset at the end. But everything can't always go your way, so I'm gonna start by rereading the first book and work my way through it.
Fair. Well, I love that you love the book enough to read it again
Hmm.
because I don't think I can barely get through three chapters of one book that I haven't read.
Oh my
So of
gosh.
course
Okay,
you
well, not everyone is like a avid reader. It's okay.
sorry,
I said not everyone
everyone.
likes to read that much.
But I do like to read. I have
Mhm.
like 10 book. My problem is I keep buying books that
Oh,
spark my
and
interest
then
and
you
then I
don't.
have too many that I haven't read.
Yeah.
But I guess time is a thing and I need to start prioritizing reading more if it's something I enjoy.
It's hard. I try to do it at the end of the day before I go to bed or like in the beginning of the day, just so that there's
Mhm.
at least a little set amount of time
Yeah.
to do a little something.
Yeah, something is always better than nothing, I tell myself. Like,
Exactly.
even one page
One
of a book
page. I
is
always try
better
to
than
do
none.
like 10 pages a day. Because at that point, like by the end of the month, you've read like 300 pages, and I feel like most
Yeah,
books are like around 300 or 400 pages. So it's good. You can read a whole book
exactly.
in a month.
Exactly. Cool. Well, have a wonderful weekend, and
Okay.
you got this. Get on
Thank
that
you.
grind and then enjoy the pool and the reading.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you for
Everyone,
having
don't
me.
forget to spread your serotonin and check Taylor out on LinkedIn and on her podcast, Care to Elaborate. A very good one. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye. Bisous.